everyone, I have this event-driven async application which is used to asynchronously place and cancel orders. So in one of the flows, which is place order flow, the application listens on the new orders topic, it processes the events asynchronously and publishes the reply messages on the web orders topic. In the other flow, which is the cancel order flow, it listens on the to be cancelled orders topic, processes the messages on that topic and publishes the reply message back onto cancel orders topic. So this asynchronous application is following the classic request reply pattern from event-driven architectures. I would want to test this application using Specmatic Studio. So let's just jump into it and see how I can test this particular application. Okay, so I have started the async application, and as you can see, I have also started its dependencies like Kafka and Zookeeper in Docker. Now what I'll do is I'll run the studio using this Docker command and using the Specmatic Enterprise image. All right, studio is running. I'll go open studio in the browser. So let me go to the browser and open studio. Yeah, so we are in studio now. I'll go and select the specification that our application has implemented and I'll go to the test tab. As you can see in the test tab, we have got the two operations that we talked about, the place order and the cancel order operation, each with their respective channels. So what I'll do is I'll simply run the test by clicking this run button. Okay, both the tests have run and one of them is passing. The test for place order is passing, whereas for cancel order, it is failing. Let's just look at each one of them. I'll go to the passing test. It says the test name is upon receiving a message on new orders channel, should send a message on WIP orders channel, which is exactly the operation is. As you can see, this is the message that Specmatic sent on this new orders topic, and the application responded with a reply message on the WIP orders topic. And since it is contract valid, the test has passed. If you go back and have a look at the failing test, okay, over here we can see Specmatic has sent a message on the to be cancelled orders topic with ID 574, but the test is failing, saying that I'm out waiting for a message on topic cancelled orders. So that means Specmatic sent a message on to be cancelled orders, but our application maybe rejected this particular message, did not process it, and hence did not publish any reply message on the cancelled orders topic, which we were expecting. Let's just validate that by looking at the application logs once. If we look at the application logs, it clearly says rejecting cancellation for order 574 with so and so correlation ID because it does not exist. Okay, so the thing here is only an order which is whose data entry exists in the system can be cancelled, and an order with ID 574 does not really exist in the system, and hence our application was not able to process the same. Now there are certain IDs which are already set in the seed data for our application in the test environment, and we could actually use those IDs to the application can process this particular message. So if we send an ID that actually exists in the system, something like 2001, then the application will be able to process it properly and send back the reply message as expected. But how do we make Specmatic send what we would want it to send? Like how do we set up the test data so that Specmatic can use that test data to drive the tests? The answer here is examples. In Specmatic, you can drive your test data using examples. Okay, so to generate the examples, we can make use of this examples tab. Over here also, you can see a similar table. I would want to generate an example for cancel order operation. So I'll select that. Actually, no need to select it as well. I'll just use the inline generate button. It actually generated it. I'll go into it. Okay, so this is the example that it generated, and we can see it is sending this particular ID on the to be cancelled orders topic. Now I would want to change this ID to something that exists in the system, something like 2001, and I'll save this example. Okay, I'll go back. Now you can see we have an example for cancel order operation. I'll go back to the test tab and run the tests again. As you can see, now both the tests are passing, the cancel order as well as place order. If you look at the cancel order tests, we can see Specmatic actually made use of the example that we just generated to drive the tests. It sent the 2001 as an ID in the request message, which is being sent on the topic to be cancelled orders. And the application was able to process it and send a reply message back on the cancelled orders topic. So this is how you can set up your test data with the use of examples. Okay, now suppose we have a new requirement where we should be able to place orders for different sorts of products. Currently, if we look at place order, particular test, the kind of message that's been sent, it has a customer email, it has items, and each item has a type coupon. Okay, so this is one certain kind of product that is being ordered over here. And to understand what sort of products can be ordered currently using the place order operation, we can quickly have a look at the specification. Okay, now if you look at the place order operation on the new orders channel, there is this the message type is digital order request. So this looks like we can only place orders for digital products. Let's have a closer look at the digital order request schema. If you look at digital order request schema, the payload has ID, customer email, items, which is exactly what we saw a few minutes back. And in the items, it has type, name, quantity, price, and type is an enum which has these coupon, subscription, gift card, license, etc. These values. So this clearly is an order for digital products. Now, suppose there is a new requirement where we now should be able to place orders for physical products as well as part of the same place order operation. And let's say we are following the spec first approach to implement this new feature. So the first thing that we would do is update the spec based on the requirement that we want to satisfy. So if we go back to the spec and if we look at the place order operation, the new orders currently accepts only the digital order request. Okay. Now I already have a schema for a physical order request. Okay. Over here, if you look at the payload, it has ID, contact number, shipping address, items. Okay. So these two things were not there in the digital order request. And if we look at the items, it has name, quantity, price. There is no type enum over here. Okay. So what change I'll do to my spec is I'll say that along with the digital orders, new orders can now also accept physical order requests. Okay. And I'll save this change. Okay. So when I look at the spec, I clearly see that place order operation supports the order placement of both kinds of products, digital products as well as physical products. Now that the spec has been updated with our new requirement, I'll go to the examples tab and I'll now generate examples for the place order operation. Let's see what happens. Oh, awesome. We got two examples. And this was something that I was expecting because the place order operation can now place orders for two kinds of products, digital products as well as physical products. Let's now have a look at each of the examples. If I look at the place order example, it has a customer email, it has a type called coupon. So this clearly looks like our digital product. And this is already supported by our application. If I go back and look at the other example, it now has a contact number, a shipping address, and items no longer have a enum type. So this is our new physical product, which is our new requirement for our application. Okay, we got both the examples generated. Now let's go back to the test tab and rerun the test. Let's see what happens. Awesome. This is cool. We got 3 tests running because now we have a variation of place order operation for the physical product as well as for digital product. And we got a one failing test. Let's look at the failing test in the place order operation. If we look at this particular test, this is the message that was sent by Specmatic, and this clearly is our physical product, which is a new requirement. And since the application does not support it, we are getting a failure. So with this approach, you now got a failing test for something that you have not implemented. And as a developer, you can go and implement the new feature, rerun this test, and after your implementation, the test should pass. So this is your classic test-driven development approach that you can follow using Specmatic Studio and the contract test that it generates from the specifications. So far we saw how we were able to set up test data using the examples tab in Studio and also do spec-driven development using the spec tab and then the test tab to get the feedbacks, etc. But there are a lot more things that you can do with respect to example management in Specmatic Studio. I'll quickly walk you through it. You can basically generate more examples for an operation using this generate more button. You can validate the generated example using the inline validate button. You can validate all the examples at once using this checkbox and clicking on the bulk validate button. As you can see, it validated all the examples. But when I say validate the examples, what do I really mean? I'll explain it via an example. If I go into this cancel order example, you can see the ID has a value 2001, which is a number. So the specification is expecting ID to be a number. What happens if I change it to something like false, which is a Boolean value? I'll go and validate this particular change. And as you can see, it's giving me an error. What does this? What does the error say? It is saying expected type number actual was value false of type boolean. So this really is a contract invalid change because specification is expecting a number, but I have provided a boolean value, and it's an incorrect value that I have provided over here, and that's why I'm getting quick feedbacks that I can use to fix any wrong changes, any contract invalid changes that I would do to my example. So now I know that this has to be a number. I can go here and change it back to a number, something like 2001, which was there earlier. And if I save and validate again, now it has become a valid example. So you get such quick feedbacks within the code editor itself that you can make use of to fix such contract invalid examples. If you have an example that you don't really want to work with, you can actually select that example and delete it as well. So you can see, right, everything related to examples like generating them, modifying them, validating them, deleting them, everything you can do within this single user interface. And you can go set up your test data seamlessly and run your tests to get them passing. So we were able to test our async application successfully using Specmatic Studio by making use of examples, tab, test tab, spec tab, etc. I hope you liked this video, and I hope you'll soon try Specmatic Studio out to test your async applications. Thank you.